Owen Power, the Buffalo Sabres, the first overall pick in 2021. He makes his debut in Toronto last night. I was there. Personally, I was extremely impressed by what I saw. He looked like a veteran. He was extremely poised out there, made great decisions. He even broke up a 2-on-2 with Austin Matthews, who had great things to say, of course, about Power after the game as well. He said his hockey IQ jumps out. He didn't look like a rookie playing his first game. Other members of the Leafs were very effusive as well about Owen Power. I thought he looked fantastic out there. So I'm curious for you, Scott. I know you've been talking a lot about the Sabres lately and sort of envisioning their future. We're now at 11 years, a record for playoff drought, 11 seasons in a row. Do you think Owen Power represents finally the turning of the tide here? And is he going to be a key piece that gets them toward finally making progress and getting back to the postseason?
Yeah, in fact, Matt, you had a weekly roundtable question a couple weeks ago about teams that we thought could jump forward, and I really like what the Sabres have shown in the last half of this season. Obviously, it's been a very difficult century for the Sabres. So I think Owen Power is clearly going to be a big part of that. I think you have to really, though, temper your expectations if you're a Sabre fan, and certainly in Sabre management, Kevin Adams, the GM. And we know that Don Granato, the head coach there, he understands the evolutionary track for young players, and especially for young defensemen. And I think, frankly, for big young defensemen, you think back to Victor Hedman, it took him 3 or 4 or 5 years in Tampa before he became an elite all-world player. Of course, Rasmus Dahlin, another number 1 overall pick who's in Buffalo and has been there for 4 or 5 years. It's not been a straight line for him, just as it hasn't been a straight line for that entire franchise. But I do think this team now, with the collection of really high-end young talent, we've seen, Alex Tuch, we've seen Dahlin really, I think, take steps forward this season. Tage Thompson, it's a really interesting emerging young team. I think the good thing for Owen Power, he doesn't have to be the guy. He doesn't have to carry this team forward. There are 5 or 6 or 7 players really in his sort of age wheelhouse that can help to shoulder that load. There's going to be some bumps. There always are with young defensemen. But I really like what Buffalo's done. And I think they have a chance to really be, I don't think a playoff team maybe next year, but really play meaningful games into the second half of next season. And Owen Power is going to be a big part of that, not just next year, but moving forward. Good for him. And great to see all his support in Toronto last night. You must have been thrilled to watch that moment in history.
If only the Sabres could just play the Leafs 82 times a year, they'd be dominating the Leafs. They just have fits with those Buffalo Sabres. It is really exciting to see. I always say Buffalo, for me, is the best market in the NHL pound for pound. This is a market with nobody to watch in the playoffs for a decade, and they regularly produce great TV ratings because the fans there, they care so much. You're in there and you see a truck drive by the arena and honks, "Let's go Buffalo." I love that. Just a devoted market. They deserve success. But they don't have it yet.